It's starting right now, actually. Okay, great. All right.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is the giant head of Stefan. Um, Thanks for tuning in. This is a Monday stream. We're going to be moving these to Monday just because it's a lot more convenient. Um, Usually, I do this at like 9 p.m. London time. I'm here in the UK at the moment, and like if I was in the US, I think it would be a lot more chill. But Friday night it's kind of tricky to do these demos, so we're moving it to Monday. But yeah, nice to get the ball rolling again with these demos. I'm excited, Lewis.
Yes, sir.
So, um, I think to this week we're gonna highlight. Maybe you can start, Lewis. So I'll be kind of like the driver. So Lewis is currently traveling, so does not have access to the monitor. If you did, that would be impressive, though. Not gonna lie. If you
I
brought
did.
like your monitor,
I have a monitor, but I did bring a monitor, but it crashed. It broken during transit. Yeah, transit.
that happened to me as well when I was trying to do a Nomad Life. Monitor broke.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Is it the monitor you had back home or a new one?
No, no, this is the one that Kevin gave me.
Okay, cool.
It's a yeah. Remember the one that I got from San Fran? From San Fran, I show you one. I showed it before actually. If I
Nice.
think,
Maybe when you have the chance, maybe next demo, or if you have it available, you can
nah,
afterwards we can do a little show and tell.
maybe
Um,
yeah. I don't know. I throw it in the garbage. That would be a funny. That would be a good. That would be a good evidence though. Yeah. I
yeah.
should take a picture of that.
Um, no,
Anyway.
yeah. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So
Hmm.
Um, all right, cool. Well, Louis, tell us what you have here. What is this commit that you committed 5 days ago?
Yeah, yeah. So this is the sharp icon generation. So some user of Plasma has tell us that the current kind of icon resizing library we're using is kind of bad. It's kind of it cook up the image too much. So we're using Sharp, uh, the Sharp library now, which use I think some libUV or something like that. So the image quality is much better now. And so that's pretty much what this PR does is replace the ImageJS library with the Sharp library. They are both from npm, but Sharp actually using a some native C++ API, so it's slightly faster. It produces much better quality icon, resized icon. Um, the caveat though, I actually saw the size. It's double the size of the previous icon, but the quality is slightly better. Actually, much better. It's much smoother. So I think the quality of the image will not be much better compared to previous. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's um, things that a lot of developers have told us. Um, so we added a sort of stopgap solution, right? Like for developers, if they wanted to manually add um, different resolution icons, but I think they should basically make it something that you don't even have to think about. You just use Plasma Sharp thing and it just works. So
Precisely.
that's really awesome. Cool. Awesome. So one of the things that we were thinking about with this demo was this kind of like demo session was to think more about like things that we might have missed in the past. So like these were things that were kind of cool, but I don't think they got enough recognition. So wanted to highlight them and then also talk a little bit more about some examples. I think like one of them, now this one. So we actually have a Vietnamese translation of the Plasma README. So basically, this has everything people need to kind of understand what Plasma is and kind of how to get started. Unfortunately, you go to the docs, there is only English. So that's something that we're going to work on. But for the time being, our README is now in English, in simplified Chinese, and in Vietnamese, which is awesome. Um, the the kind of request that we would want to kind of put out there is, if you speak another language that isn't one of these three, send us a translation. We really appreciate it. We're an open source project, and we want as many people to use Plasma as possible, and we don't want language to be a barrier. So if you see that, for example, I don't know, you speak Portuguese or you speak Spanish, and you wanted to add a Spanish translation, fork it, submit a PR, and yeah, we would love to get any and all language translations. In terms of the docs, we're still thinking about how to do internationalization for that. So I don't think we're ready for that at the moment, but that's something to keep in mind. And reach out to us on Discord if you're interested in the docs kind of internationalization front. So that's cool. The other thing that's kind of neat about our GitHub now. So yeah, we have the Vietnamese translation. The other thing that's really cool is we now have a sponsor button. So GitHub, after a while, actually approved our profile, our sponsor profile. So we have a sponsor profile now. And if you like Plasmo, if you've enjoyed using it, if you have friends that are Plasma fanatics and you want to support us in some way, we have different tiers, and it would be really helpful to us to have supporters. So if you would like to sponsor us, we have this cool sponsor page now. Awesome. So those are the two big things in the GitHub world. Anything you would want to add, Louis?
So far, so good, boss.
Awesome. So next up, we have examples. So I was just looking at the commits and the examples to see kind of cool stuff we can highlight. And I think one of the coolest ones is most to me is the with Inbox SDK. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that, Louis?
Yep. So for those who have never used Inbox SDK before, Inbox SDK is pretty much kind of a library to make. It's an API library, fully client side, for user to make extension to work with kind of a Gmail and kind of Inbox application, and mainly for Gmail. And so they would have like a simple kind of API to allow you injecting element into Inbox, and they maintain this API, and yeah, you pay a subscription to actually leveraging their API to build extension on top of the Inbox, on top of Gmail basically, and basically it's a way for like internal team to kind of making internal tooling for the team to like improving the workflow with Gmail and so on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So if we dive deeper into let's dive deeper into the extension. It's proven its work because we have a PR. We have an issue on Inbox SDK on the main Plasma repo, and one of our contributor has tested this extension, and we saw the screenshot. It actually it is working. So the example that we have implemented here actually is the exact same kind of example extension that Inbox SDK provide to user. So Inbox SDK actually have a very bare bone extension, but it uses Webpack to bundling all the file and dependencies coming from Inbox SDK. With Plasmo, all you have to do is, so here the Plasmo SDK provide you with kind of two it's automated a lot of the setup with Webpack basically. So first we have the content, the TS that injecting the Inbox SDK, kind of stuff. Like yeah. So right now we're looking at package.json, right? Okay. Let's move to package.json first. So in the package.json, the first thing that user would want to do is just install the Inbox SDK core kind of a package, right? And then they will have to including, if you go down to the bottom, there is the the web access resource. So that is actually importing the page world JS file coming from Inbox SDK as a resource, and we expose those to the Google like Gmail and so on. And this will allow um, basically this would allow our extension to access the page world.js file coming from Inbox SDK. Yeah. And basically, this is like the same setup that Inbox SDK kind of base extension have, in which they, instead of using Plasmo built-in kind of node module bundle in Inbox SDK, you do something the same but with Webpack. You bundle them and you copy the file into the final bundle of your extension. So here we do this. We basically that. So with Plasmo, it does the exact same thing, but pretty much automated for you. And you can do the exact same thing for almost any node module. Yeah. So the second thing that with Index SDK, Inbox SDK do is you have to expose the background script that they have. So here we simply just export everything they have inside their background script. So that would effectively re-exporting the background that Inbox has given us. Oh, incidentally, I saw some of the artifact from Inbox SDK. They're actually using PowerShell too. They're using PowerShell to bundle their Inbox SDK. Yeah, so it worked pretty well so far for them. And then the last piece is our content.ts. So in content.ts is where we're actually importing the Inbox SDK core stuff and we're initializing their SDK. So we load the Inbox SDK. We actually use environment variable to injecting app ID. And then we add a component. We add a Plasmo button into the Inbox kind of composing box. Yeah. And when you click that, it's simply just show hello world. So it's a nifty kind of simple example. It's just copy paste the example from the official Inbox SDK, but the code base and the structure is much more kind of mature, much more organized at least for TypeScript developer.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's awesome. So yeah, that's one of the things that we built. Yeah, I think it was actually a PR, wasn't it, Liz?
This Inbox SDK?
Yeah.
So it was a PR coming from a developer, coming from, yeah. But then his approach wasn't leveraging, his approach did not leveraging all of our Plasmo, right? So basically I had to redo a lot of it. So I just recreating the PR.
Got it. Yeah, because the reason why I ask is because we've been thinking about this for a while. There was someone on our Discord that posted, "Hey, how do I use Inbox SDK?" Right?
Precisely.
I think we gave them some help and they figured it out, but we never actually had an example. So it's super awesome that we actually have an example now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was, I think, the biggest example that I can think of. I think the many targets thing we covered last week. So
yep, there's another one that we added recently is the with emotion. So with emotion shows kind of the capability of Plasmo when integrating with UI library, for example, emotion. So the key.
So is this also APR?
It was. So one of the key.
So shout out to Oleg.
Oleg.
PR. He's awesome.
Yep, he's on our Discord too. And yeah, so one of the key kind of idea in this PR is actually to leveraging the with style. So if you go to let's go to one of the content.tsx. Yeah, so PopSub doesn't have much in here. PopSub does the exact same thing. So here's in our content, right? You can see that we create a style element first. We create a style element, and then we create the style cache. The style cache is very important. It actually allows emotion to find, to access this cache and apply style throughout this component during the runtime. And so we're using getStyle to return the style element. And then in our Plasmo overlay that you're exporting, in the content script UI, we would have the cache provider consuming the style cache. And that's how Emotion can injecting all of the styling into the runtime.
That's awesome. I think this is so. There are a bunch of these kinds of styling libraries. Do you remember the names of the two that we were looking at?
Well, there was I think I should remember. I forgot.
Yeah, well,
Well, one is vanilla. I think vanilla something.
Vanilla, yeah. Basically, they're like Emotion, but just like they do things slightly differently, but in a very similar like theme. So we were trying to get them working, and like if it was this easy, that would be so good. I'm really glad Emotion makes this easy to do this, because other style libraries is just really, really tricky to get this.
Yeah, a lot of I think one of the main reason why a lot of other library, the new library, right, are getting more difficult, is because they are trying to approach the styling problem from the same way that Tailwind approaching it. They're becoming more of a compile style sheet than a runtime inferring style sheet. And so a lot of the work now they want to dive heavily into the compiler. The compiler read the source file, take all the class name and take all the styling necessary, and compile to the final style sheet, and expecting the final runtime kind of code to know where to find this kind of the bundles CSS. Versus in Emotion, is that it actually separate out the compiling and the with Emotion, right? Because all the style it's not a styling library. Emotion, all the styling is you still define styling using CSS, and then Emotion just take all the CSS and the CSS inside JS, right? It take all the CSS in JS and turn it into CSS. So it is a trade-off, because Emotion is a runtime styling solution. I mean, that's why it's very easy to integrate it. It's very, very easy to integrate Emotion into your extension solution compared to most other kind of compile CSS solution.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, it's tricky, right? Because like for most extension is inherently sure, after you bundle everything, then extension is just a static kind of application. So I think that to having a compiled solution would, a lot of time would make it, like it make faster product, but it might tamper with developer experience, which is a trade-off. It is always a trade-off. You either have better product, or I mean faster product, or or you might have shitty dev experience. Always trade-off. You can basically you can use C++, right, to make the fastest app ever, but it would but the tooling and all the configuration would eat it up for you. Or you can just use kind of JavaScript, make a web app, and get it done with.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Is there anything else that you think we should cover, or do you think anything else that the people out there would be interested in?
I wonder. We have a lot of RFC that we have yet to tackle. I think one of the things that I'm going to tackle soon would be the create Plasma with. So that will allow us to this mounting into multiple element on the web page is, I think, is one of the this might become a new thing called the Plasma overlay kind of suite of library. It would include like some kind of UI library and also kind of element mounting and stuff like that. Yeah, something like that along the line.
So one of the I guess maybe talking more about like product and talking more about sort of like roadmap. So we're still kind of like finalizing what the roadmap going forward is going to look like, and we have a bunch of people in our waitlist. So if you're on our waitlist, we have a little update to share. So we're going to be rolling out more and more people onto kind of like our sort of Plasmo Itero offering. So stay tuned for that if you've been patiently waiting. It's an exciting time because we'll probably be reaching out to you. And speaking of that, we will likely be reaching out to people to kind of get a better sense of like, because, at the end of the day, we built Plasmo because we wanted to solve the problems that we have. And at the moment, sort of like, it's been really, really helpful to get these like feedback requests and everything on GitHub, but we want to take it a little bit deeper. So what we want to do is want to kind of have more like more in-depth conversations with people. Maybe this would be like 15 or 30 minutes of your time where we can talk more about like kind of what problems you're running into building an extension, like the various different aspects of it, right? Like, doesn't just have to be engineering. It's also can be like, how do I like make SEO better? Like, how can I rank more highly on like the Chrome Web Store? It could be like, why is my extension not featured? What happened in like this review process? Like, what's going on? Like, why is it sometimes getting approved, sometimes isn't? It could be like all sorts of stuff. Like, we already have some thoughts of like what are some common things that people run into just because we've been in this space for a while. But at the same time, we really want to get more like opinions. So I'll be reaching out to some folks, and you might hear from me, which would be kind of cool. Just so we can like talk more about this stuff. At the same time, if you are really like interested in kind of telling us all your problems with extensions in the hopes that we will fix them for you, reach out to us on Discord. So that's kind of like the update on that front. And as Louis was saying, one of the things that we were talking about a lot is sort of this like overlay thing and like thinking about how can we better. So like right now we have the content script UI, which is awesome, but like how can we expand that and how can we upgrade it, take it to 2.0? So that's kind of like what we've been thinking about, which is part of this whole thing of like, what is our roadmap and kind of where do we go now that we have this like framework that a lot of people use? Like, what's the next step look like? And that's kind of what we're thinking about now. And it's kind of one of the reasons why, if you look at our commits, we don't have so many. The reason why is because we've been focused on kind of thinking about rather than just like building a little bit more big picture, thinking about where do we go from here. So that's kind of why we haven't had too many commits, but I'm really excited for what we have planned because it should be like super, super awesome.
But like also, when the main reason why we have low commit count, right? It's because we scratch them. We scratch commit.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I think we can see them in the release thing, right? Like the full, where is it?
Can we? I wonder.
Because like each one of these is like a commit, right?
Oh no, each one of those is a PR.
Yeah.
Each of those PR,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that. I think if we not scratching all of our PR and just let all the commit like fly, we likely have maybe about 5 times the amount of commit.
Right.
As we have
now. My wording was poor. What I was meaning to say is features.
Yeah. We're not focusing on too many features for the framework at the moment. Yeah, we are just adding like small feature like low hanging fruit and stuff that like we've been dying to.
Although I think it's interesting because this requires us to kind of prioritize in some ways. So like for example, like this is one feature, but it's one that so many people have requested.
Yeah.
So it's like super impactful. Whereas like if we had a lot of time with the framework and in engineering, right, we would probably get a lot more features done, but like maybe like 1 or 2 of them would be as impactful as this one, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like I think it's a balance, but like again, like let us know if you would like to talk, because we'd love to hear from you, and I will also be reaching out to people, so that should be cool. That's basically it on my end. Louis, you have anything else to say to the people out there?
That's it for next week. I think we're good to go.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in. See you guys next week, and take care.
Bye bye.